Good evening, everyone. My name is Quijas, and I'm representing the Pulsar team. And today, I'm going to address the various market gaps and gray areas within the energy drink market that, with my ideas of a dual drinking system with non-stim options and carefully curated caffeine sources, that hopefully we aim to address some issues that Gen Z are facing currently in the energy drink market. Now, Gen Z doesn't want just simple energy, they want sustainable energy and clean energy sources. And what I mean by this is that Gen Z is one of the few age gaps that has been always exposed to social media and online postings. And because of this, they're becoming more aware, they're becoming more knowledgeable consumers and buyers. And so they're starting to figure out and find out more about the ingredients that they're consuming, whether it be beverages or foods. And in this case, with the beverages, they're finding out about artificial ingredients and additives that are affecting their mental health or even physically. And so they're becoming more aware of that. And on top of that, they have a distrust in synthetic ingredients because a lot of energy drinks, they synthetically extract their caffeine sources. So that could, because it's not straight from the source, such as typically from cacao beans or from tea leaves, it could possibly induce that crash out sensation that a lot of people feel when they drink energy drinks. And there's another problem that Gen Z has is that there's a big oversaturation in caffeine. A lot of the caffeine competitors, they have hundreds of amounts of milligrams of caffeine in their energy drinks. And that's not really addressing the goal when you drink an energy drink is to be focused, be engaged, have a drive, and that's not helping solve the issue. So if you take a look at this table, it shows typical examples of overusing unsustainable ingredients and why they no longer work. But I guess the couple of ones I want to typically put a focus on is obviously the added sugars. Brands like Monster, Red Bull, even though they have zero sugar lines, they weren't that originally. They were centered around just it tasting good and adding an exorbitant amount of sugar in it. And that's a problem that Gen Z has, is that they want to point out, is that for a lot of ingredients, especially they want to put a focus on protein, for example, and it's the same thing with sugars, or making sure that the ingredients are natural and that they're being derived ethically. And another one is BCAA dumping. So that's like L-theanine, which is a branched chain amino acid. Although that in itself is not the problem, it's an exorbitant amount of it and not really having a huge effect on your energy or your cognitive function enhancement. So what competitors miss is so some of the main competitors, I mentioned Monster and also Celsius, is that they fail to have any non-caffeinated lines of beverages. So that means that they don't have any non-stim options that could deliver a similar or equal performance to the caffeine options. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of them synthetically extract their caffeine. So a lot of the big competitors do not extract it straight from the source, and they mix it in with other chemicals for it to be more of a bountiful amount. And also transparency in ingredients. So most energy drinks, you see a large list of ingredients, but you're not exactly sure what you're consuming or what's being taken inside of your body. And I would say all this, but why exactly is it important to Gen Z? Well, it's important to Gen Z because I feel like they put me being a part of Gen Z myself. There's definitely a big value on variety. So we don't just want one product. We want a large variety of the product because it could address different needs that we might be hoping to consume. And since it's caffeine, a lot of, for example, like pre-workout, which is often has caffeine in it, a lot of a niche of Gen Z goers who attend the gym, they may take that, but this is addressing that just beyond the gym. This is addressing for Gen Zers who are in a work or in a school environment that may need that extra drive that they've been lacking. So understanding Gen Z and their readiness. So the primary audience is young students aged from 18 to 26 who are currently in school. They're about to graduate the undergrad, they already have the undergrad, or they're currently in the middle of their master's program, and they're highly cognitive, or they're trying to increase their highly cognizance. And in the secondary audience would be young professionals or fitness enthusiasts who maybe they also want an extra boost that they're craving. And so why is this market ready? They spend a lot of time making decisions online. From Pew Research, it's a fact that Gen Z spend a lot of their time online shopping, and so that's a factor to take into consideration when attempting to promote into this market. And it also research also tells us from Mintel, which is another research institute, that Gen Z is highly selective on the beverages that they choose. So there could be a large amount of energy drinks, but there may only be a few that cater to their needs. And they tend to steer away from artificial ingredients, so maybe no added sugar or artificial colors or preservatives that maybe they're not hoping for long-term health and fitness. And now the solution is a dual-path cognitive line of energy drinks. So post-peak, so when you think about peak, you think about you're on the top of your game, that you're on the top of a mountain, and this line of the drink is caffeine source from tea leaves. So so you know that it's coming straight from a source that you typically would associate with caffeine. And the core ingredients of it are cordyceps, which is a type of mushroom that's an adaptogen. So adaptogens help with your reducing stress and your mood. So that's the main reason we have it, to kind of combat any jitteriness that could be caused by caffeine in general. And L-theanine, as I mentioned earlier, is a branched chain amino acid, so it helps to also reduce your anxiety as well. And B vitamins for brain support. And now the pulse flow, so this is a non-stim focus that I mentioned earlier. So because there's no caffeine in it, the replacements for it is a mixture of lion's mane and cordyceps, because they focus on both adaptogens and nootropics, and nootropics are things that give you energy immediately, and so that would definitely be important with energy drinks. And the other core ingredients would be ashwagandha, as it's like another mood booster as well, and magnesium L-threonate, which is a compound from magnesium that also helps to reduce stress. And now I have a depiction here of what the product looked like. Since one is caffeine and one is non-stim, I thought that having different colors for them would kind of differentiate the two a little bit better. And these are just some flavors I thought of. And as you can see on there, the caffeine one is mango flavored and the pulse one is yuzu flavored. A value proposition that I think would best represent for this line of product to Gen Z is a dual system energy drink that is trying to match to the rhythm of Gen Z and their shopping options. I think a big focus is to have be centered on a lifestyle sort of ideology, because a lot of people may not necessarily be going to the gym and they may consume these products, but it's to better their overall health and make sure that they're getting the right ingredients. And ways that we can successfully market into Gen Z is go to local universities and start sampling. So we could go to common areas where they may congregate, such as a library, a gym, or student resource centers, because that way we get immediate feedback and we will know how to adapt accordingly. Additionally, we could also use TikTok Shop and user-generated content creators to further promote our brand, because with user-generated content creators, they act as regular buyers, so it's more personable, so you know that their experiences are authentic. And a price point we would put it at is at $2.50, since most energy drinks prices average from $3 and upwards, so it's a little bit cheaper. So Pulse, what we deliver, what the rest of the category doesn't. So clean energy, no overstimulation. You know the sources of the ingredients and where they're coming from. We have non-sim options, which the market currently doesn't have as dual line options like we do. And we have alignment with transparency, which is a big desire from Gen Z. And finally, I think that polls could act as a game changer to energy drinks overall in the industry, and I feel like this could be something that could maybe change people's mindsets about the negative dissonance associated typically with energy drinks. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Hi. Yes. So I saw that you cited a few sources like Pew and Statista, and wanted to know if there were any other sources, because when you started your presentation, you're very into it, and I felt like you had more information that you had gathered that wasn't in there that would have been really helpful to also like add to your presentation. So do you have more, and also primary research? Did you bring primary research into the fold as well?
I guess primary research, I guess like background about myself is that like since I go to the gym, I'm familiar with these typical ingredients like with caffeine boosters and the adaptogens and nootropics I mentioned. So these are things that like I've been exposed to personally, so I know like the effects that they can bring, especially
but
with energy.
You didn't have a survey?
No, I didn't bring about
Okay,
no.
so it's more about experiential like insights from what you've gathered?
Yes.
Okay. That was answered the primary question. The secondary question, were there other places besides those three that you helped to pull information about like your target and all that stuff?
Well, I pulled information from other research sources, like specifically for Gen Z and from TikTok, because whenever I mentioned the TikTok affiliation program, that's an option and feature available to all TikTok users. So, and it's to promote and to like assess the products that you're buying. So I think that was pretty important for the energy drink.
Okay.